The silly season is something that every Formula One fan out there awaits with amazement, and this time it started a bit earlier than we might originally think. While there are no active transfers yet, the rumours about some big sharks changing their current waters have surfaced yet again, and they're becoming stronger by the day. In this scenario, the main actors are Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton, with Charles Leclerc playing the role of a co-star and maybe being the collateral damage of the entire thing. Join us as we go through one of the wildest transfers that might happen in Formula One and whether it would be a good or bad thing for all the sides involved. Let's start with Carlos Sainz, and his name hasn't been the one that the Formula One world has expected to appear this soon in the entire shake-up. The Spaniard joined Ferrari back in 2021, and one thing is for sure, he didn't get the result that he wanted. He helped McLaren get that P3 spot in 2020, and it's safe to say that his expectations were that he could bring Ferrari closer to the championship, which they've been missing horribly ever since Kimi last held it in 2007. However, in the 2 full seasons that Sainz has driven with Ferrari, he was able to obtain 1 pole position and 1 win, which is very much what he signed for initially. He may have learned the hard way why big drivers don't work out in Ferrari, as one of the biggest issues of the team was, and still is, the tactical blunders and the strategic mistakes. While there isn't any team that would sign Sainz at this point, given the fact that the superstars are more or less secured on the other competitive teams, there is a new team coming in 2026 that has already expressed that Sainz would be their #1 choice if the smooth operator is available. Audi. Audi is a team that Sainz's father, Carlos Sainz Sr., has had a very close relationship with. So with this in mind, there's no doubt that he would lobby and say a word or two about his son's will to drive for the German squad. According to the Swiss newspaper Blick, there's a very huge chance that the Spaniard would end up in Audi. And one reason this source is so confident that it will turn out to be true is due to Andreas Seidel's statement towards Carlos Sainz. When talking about Sainz, Seidel said that this is the type of driver that everyone would like to have on their team. And with that being said, there's no doubt that the experienced team principal will try to pursue the 28-year-old and appoint him the #1 role in the team. Sure, there are some other drivers that are being considered, with Mick Schumacher's name being brought back into the mix again after the young German signed the contract with Mercedes as their reserve driver. But there's no doubt that Sainz would be the much more attractive solution for the German squad. After all, Sainz has been proven as a driver who knows how to determine his own fate on the track, as we saw with his own calls in Monaco and Silverstone last year. He managed to bring in great results for himself. Had it not been for Albon trying to safely get out of the way while Sainz was exiting the pit stop, that would have likely been the first win of his career, and he wouldn't have had to wait a couple of weeks to celebrate this feature in Silverstone. And when you join a team like Ferrari, there's a certain level of expectation, one that the team has likely failed to meet in Sainz Jr.'s eyes, meaning that this environment right now wouldn't be the best one for the Spaniard. Although he has 20 points in the 2023 season, 14 more than his teammate Leclerc, he hasn't been able to outperform him in the qualifying session and in pure race pace, as the Monegasque's bad results were due to a crash and a DNF in Bahrain. Audi's goals are more than clear. Win races 3 years from when they enter the sport, which would be 2029. By that time, Sainz would be well past his prime, but he would enter his most mature years, meaning that he'd be the perfect guy to win races for the team if they managed to build a race-winning car. Who knows, there might be an opportunity for us to see Sainz win a championship with Audi, because as things stand right now, Ferrari is not in the best position to challenge the top teams ahead, let alone the leader of the pack, Red Bull. This brings us to the next talking point of our video, Lewis Hamilton. The 7-time world champion is yet to renew his contract with Mercedes, and rumours say that he's waiting to see whether the new design of the W14, one that's supposed to hit the track from Imola onwards, will be good enough for the competitiveness being raised. If this doesn't turn out to be a true outcome, rest assured that Hamilton wouldn't be the happiest man in the world, and after calling out the team for not listening to him when they were supposed to, his next move would probably be to another team. Don't shoot me for saying this, I'm just stating something that was said by a guy that understands Formula 1 and the drivers' movements much better than me, Gerhard Berger. He even went one step further and said that loyalty means nothing to Hamilton at this point of his career, and although he's constantly spoken about continuing the relationship with Mercedes, that's just a lie for the media. When talking about this, Berger went on to add, "Every racing driver wants to drive for Ferrari at least once, and almost all the good ones have been there. Ayrton Senna just didn't go for the Scuderia because he knew, I can never win there. It may be that Lewis thinks so too, but if he doesn't get a competitive car at Mercedes, if he doesn't see a place at Red Bull Racing, then he might think, I don't want to stop just yet, I want to try Ferrari again, maybe I can fix it." Although Lewis constantly emphasises that he would never leave his Mercedes family, that means nothing in Formula 1. No one reveals the cards there. One thing is for sure, Hamilton would definitely consider following the path that his childhood hero Ayrton Senna has taken in his racing career. However, he would have to be more than careful to not go down the road that Vettel has gone down, as he joined Ferrari at its best and hasn't been able to win a championship with them in 6 years, something that he publicly said he considers a failure in his career. But where does this bring Charles Leclerc, the co-star of the entire silly season? While we talked about Sainz earlier in this video, that is for 2026, and it's a bit less anticipated than what's awaiting us in 2024, which may be Leclerc and Hamilton swapping places. Again, don't shoot the messenger. I'm not advocating that Leclerc should leave the team or swap places with Hamilton, just stating facts that have been covered by people who are experts in Formula 1 and people who have tips and information about the drivers' feelings with their current teams as well as their preferred treatment. Vasseur, on the other hand, has shut down the calls about a potential Leclerc departure soon, saying that he doesn't doubt that the Monegasque has enough motivation to continue the 2023 season on a strong note. This comes after Leclerc said that the only goal he has ahead of himself in 2023 is to finish the race in first place, and with just 6 points in 3 races, I don't blame him. Ferrari has started with their old foes from the first race, the reliability issues of the engine, and that isn't something that Leclerc may tolerate for long enough. Obviously, his contract will be up for renewal at the end of the 2024 season, but if Mercedes feels like Hamilton won't be committing to them in the next season, they would likely want to bring the Monegasque and buy him out of his current contract with Ferrari. In the next couple of months, we're about to see some interesting movements in both teams, and it seems like Ferrari losing a lot of advantage ahead of Aston Martin and Mercedes, apart from Red Bull, will be in the last straw in the drivers' tolerance towards the team. Keep in mind that they were supposed to win races from day one with Vasseur, as there wasn't anything to be worked on in terms of competitiveness, just the reliability issues and the tactic blunders. With this in mind, what do you think about these silly season talks? Do you think that there's a legitimate chance that Leclerc and Sainz will see themselves out of Ferrari sooner rather than later, and the Maranello team will bring the 7-time world champion from 2024 onwards? Let us know in the comments below.